I learned to sleep through gunshots when I was 23 years old. Not because I got used to them. You never get used to them. But because asking about them in the morning only made the silence heavier. My husband would look at me across the breakfast table, and I'd know. Some questions don't have answers you want to hear. People think the mafia begins on the street, in back rooms, in restaurants where the lights stay dim. For me, it began at the kitchen table, the day my mother told me I was marrying Vincent Castellano. I was 19. She didn't ask if I loved him. That wasn't the point. He's a good provider, she said. He'll take care of you. I didn't know then what he provided, or who he had to hurt to take care of me. My name is Angela. This is what really happened behind closed doors. The wedding was beautiful. Everyone said so. 300 people, most of them I'd never met. Men in expensive suits who kissed my father's ring before they kissed my cheek. Women in furs who smiled at me with sad eyes, like they knew something I didn't. The band played until 2 in the morning. Vincent danced with me once, his hand firm on my waist, and then he disappeared into a room upstairs with 6 other men. I sat at the head table alone, eating cake, while my mother-in-law watched me from across the room. She didn't smile, she just watched. Get used to waiting, she told me later, when everyone had gone home. That's what we do. We wait. Our apartment was in Brooklyn, 3rd floor, kitchen window facing the alley. Vincent had it ready before we got married. New furniture, new dishes, everything clean, everything paid for. I didn't ask how. That first week, I cooked dinner every night at 6. Pasta, chicken, vegetables the way his mother taught me. He came home at 9, sometimes 10, sometimes not at all. When he did come home, he ate in silence, kissed my forehead, and went to bed. I cleaned the kitchen and waited. Where were you? I asked him once, maybe a month in. He looked at me, not angry, just looked. Working, he said. Doing what? Angela, just my name. That was all, just my name, and I understood. I stopped asking, but I started listening. You learn things when you stop asking questions. You learn to recognize voices on the phone, even when they don't give names. You learn which friends come to the front door and which ones come to the back. You learn that when your husband comes home at 3 in the morning and takes a shower before he even looks at you, something happened. Something you'll never know about. You learn that the women at church, the ones who hug you after Mass and ask how you're settling in, they're learning the same things you are. We just don't talk about it. Vincent's cousin Polly was the first person who ever told me the truth. Not directly, he'd never do that, but one Sunday, after dinner at his mother's house, he pulled me aside in the hallway while Vincent was smoking cigars with the other men in the living room. You're a smart girl, Angela, he said, quiet, almost kind. Thank you. Smart enough to know when to be deaf and blind. I looked at him. He had gentle eyes. Sad, like the women at my wedding. I don't know what you mean, I said. Yes, you do. He squeezed my shoulder. That's why you're still smiling. I wasn't smiling, but I understood. The mafia isn't like the movies. There's no drama, no big speeches about honor and family and blood. It's quieter than that. It's your husband leaving before sunrise and coming home after dark. It's envelopes of cash in the freezer behind the ice cream. It's men visiting at odd hours, sitting in your kitchen drinking coffee you made, talking in voices so low you can't hear them even when you're standing right there. It's realizing that everyone you know, everyone you've ever trusted, is part of something you're not supposed to see. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. I got pregnant that first year. Vincent was happy, really happy, in a way I hadn't seen before. He put his hand on my stomach before there was anything to feel and said, "This is what matters." I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe that a baby would change things, that he'd come home earlier, that he'd stop disappearing into rooms I wasn't allowed to enter. But babies don't change the mafia. They just give you more to lose. My son was born in March. We named him Anthony, after Vincent's father. The hospital room was full of flowers, so many flowers I couldn't see the walls. Men came to visit, men I'd never met, and they handed Vincent envelopes. For the baby, they'd say. Vincent would nod, shake their hands, and slipped the envelopes into his jacket. I held Anthony and smiled and said thank you, and I didn't ask what was in the envelopes. I already knew. Being a mother in a mafia family is different. You don't just worry about your child getting sick or doing well in school. You worry about what he's learning when he's not with you. You worry about the example being set. Anthony was 2 years old the first time he saw his father slap a man across the face. We were at a christening, family party, everyone drinking and laughing. Some guy, I don't even remember his name, said something Vincent didn't like. Vincent stood up, walked around the table, and hit him. Just once. The whole room went quiet. Anthony was sitting on my lap. He didn't cry, he just watched. Afterwards, Vincent picked him up, kissed his head, and said, "Let's get you some cake, buddy." Like nothing happened, like that was normal. I wanted to leave. God, I wanted to leave. But where do you go when your whole family is part of this? My father worked for Vincent's uncle. My brother ran numbers for the crew. My mother brought casseroles to the widows when someone got killed. This was our life. This was the only life I knew. Do you ever think about leaving? I asked Vincent once. Anthony was 3. We were lying in bed, and Vincent's hand was on my hip, and for a moment, it felt like we were just normal people. Leaving what? He said. This. All of this. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "There's no leaving, Angela. You know that. Other people leave. They move. They start over. Other people aren't us." His voice was soft, not mean, just true. This is who we are. This is who Anthony's gonna be. What if I don't want that for him? Vincent rolled over to look at me. His eyes were dark, tired. He looked older than he was. "Then you married the wrong man," he said. I didn't bring it up again. The fear becomes part of you. It's not something that comes and goes. It's always there, humming under everything else. You're afraid when the phone rings late at night. You're afraid when your husband doesn't come home on time. You're afraid when strange cars park outside your building. You're afraid when you see police lights, even blocks away. You're afraid of what your son will grow up to be. You're afraid of what will happen if you say the wrong thing to the wrong person. You're afraid of being alone, and you're afraid of not being alone. Fear becomes the baseline. Calm is the exception. One night, Vincent came home with blood on his shirt. Not a lot, just a few drops on the collar. He went straight to the bathroom, took off the shirt, and put it in a plastic bag. I was in the hallway. He looked at me. "It's not mine," he said. I nodded. "Okay, I'm fine, okay." He stepped closer. "You believe me?" "Yes." He kissed my forehead. "Good girl." I took the bag to the incinerator in the basement and burned it. When I came back upstairs, he was already asleep. You become complicit. That's the thing they don't tell you. You're not just a bystander. You're part of it. Every meal you cook, every lie you tell, every time you smile at a neighbor and pretend everything's fine, you're part of it. The organized crime, the mafia family structure, the whole American mafia system, it doesn't work without us. The wives, the mothers, the daughters, we keep the secrets, we clean up the blood, we raise the next generation. We're the ones who make it all look normal. Anthony started asking questions when he was 5. Where does Daddy go? Why do those men come to our house? Why can't I tell the teacher what Uncle Polly does? I didn't know how to answer. Vincent said, "Tell him I work in construction." But Anthony was smart. He knew. Kids always know. One afternoon, I picked him up from kindergarten, and his teacher pulled me aside. Mrs. Chen, nice woman, probably in her 50s. She looked nervous. "Mrs. Castellano," she said. "Can we talk?" "Of course." Anthony told the class today that his father helps people with their problems. I smiled. That's sweet. He also said that sometimes people don't listen, and then his father has to make them listen. My smile didn't move. Kids say things, I'm sure, Mrs. Chen said. She glanced at Anthony, who was waiting by the door. I just wanted to mention it, in case you wanted to talk to him about what's appropriate to share. I will. Thank you. That night, I told Anthony he couldn't talk about Daddy's work anymore. He looked at me with those big brown eyes, Vincent's eyes, and said, "Why not?" I didn't have an answer. So I said what my mother said to me. Because that's the rule. He accepted it, just like I did. The women in Mafia families, we have our own language. We talk in code. How's everything at home? Means, is your husband in trouble? I haven't seen you at church. Means, are you safe? Let me know if you need anything. Means, I know something's wrong, but I won't ask. We gather in kitchens and living rooms. And we talk about recipes and schools and what's on sale at the grocery store. And underneath all of it, we're asking each other the same question. Are you okay? And we're all giving the same answer. I'm fine. My friend Teresa's husband got arrested when her daughter was 7. Racketeering charges. Federal case. She didn't cry at the arraignment. She sat in the courtroom with her hands folded in her lap, and she didn't cry. Afterwards, in the parking lot, I asked her if she was okay. She looked at me like I was stupid. What do you think? She said. I think you're strong. I think I'm trapped. She lit a cigarette. Her hands were shaking. You know what the worst part is? I'm relieved. I'm relieved he's in jail. Because at least I know where he is. At least I know he's alive. At least I can sleep without listening for the door. Her husband got 15 years. She visits him every month. Her daughter is in high school now. She wants to be a lawyer. Vincent got careful as Anthony got older. He stopped bringing people to the house. He stopped taking phone calls in front of him. He started talking about legitimate business, a restaurant he was opening, a trucking company. For Anthony's future, he said. But I knew. The restaurant was a front. The trucking company moved things that weren't supposed to be moved. Vincent wasn't going legitimate. He was just getting better at hiding. I want him to have choices, Vincent said one night. We were in the kitchen. Anthony was asleep. Vincent was drinking scotch, staring at nothing. Then give him choices, I said. It's not that simple. Why not? He looked at me. Because I don't have choices. My father didn't have choices. This is what we do. This is the real Mafia story, Angela. Nobody chooses this. It chooses you. That's not true. Yes, it is. He finished his drink. Anthony's gonna be part of this whether we like it or not. Best I can do is make sure he's smart about it. I wanted to argue. I wanted to scream. But what was the point? He was right. In our world, in the true Mafia story families live, you don't get out. You just get older. The violence was always there, but it was usually somewhere else. Someone else's husband, someone else's son, until it wasn't. Vincent's cousin Joey got killed when Anthony was 8. Shot in his car outside a diner in Queens. He had 3 kids. His wife, Marie, she found out on the news. Saw his car on TV, covered with a tarp, police everywhere. Nobody called her. Nobody warned her. She just turned on the television and saw her life end. At the funeral, Marie stood at the casket and didn't cry. Her kids cried, the whole church cried, but Marie just stood there, stone-faced. And when it was over, she walked out without talking to anyone. I caught up with her in the parking lot. Marie, she stopped, turned around, looked right through me. Don't, she said. I'm so sorry. Don't. Her voice was flat, dead. Don't tell me you're sorry. Don't tell me it'll be okay. Don't tell me God has a plan. Just don't. I didn't know what to say. You know what Joey told me the night before he died? She said. He told me he was tired. He told me he wanted out. And I said, then get out. And he laughed. He laughed, Angela, because there is no out. There's just waiting to see which way it ends. She got in her car and drove away. I never saw her again. Heard she moved to Florida. Heard she changed her name. I hope that's true. After Joey, things changed. Vincent got quieter, more careful. He started coming home earlier, checking the locks twice, looking over his shoulder. Anthony noticed. One night at dinner, he said, Dad, are you scared? Vincent put down his fork. Looked at his son, 8 years old, already too aware. No, Vincent said. You seem scared. I'm careful. There's a difference. What are you careful about? Vincent glanced at me, then back at Anthony. Eat your dinner, he said. But Anthony didn't let it go. Uncle Joey wasn't careful? The room went cold. Vincent's jaw tightened. I held my breath. Uncle Joey was in the wrong place at the wrong time, Vincent said. Slow, measured, but you said we're always in the right place because we know the rules. Anthony, just his name, the same way Vincent used to say mine. Anthony looked down at his plate and didn't ask anything else. That night, I heard Vincent on the phone in the bedroom. His voice was low, angry. I don't care what he said. You tell him I'm out. I'm done. Silence. Then, my family comes first. That's it. That's the end of it. More silence. Then let him try. He hung up. I pretended to be asleep when he came to bed. Nothing happened. Weeks went by, and nothing happened. Vincent kept working, kept coming home, kept checking the locks. I started to think maybe he really was getting out. Maybe it was possible. Maybe Joey's death had been the wake-up call. But then one night, Vincent sat me down at the kitchen table and held my hands. If something happens to me, he said, don't listen to me. If something happens, you take Anthony and you go to my brother in Chicago. You don't stay here. You don't talk to anyone. You just go. Vincent, promise me. I was crying. I didn't even realize I was crying until I felt the tears on my face. Promise me, Angela. I promise. He kissed my hands. I love you. You know that, right? I know. I never wanted this for you. I know. He went to work the next morning like always. Came home that night like always. Kissed Anthony goodnight like always. And I realized, that's how it works. You say goodbye every day, just in case. You live like every moment might be the last one, and you smile and cook dinner and pretend it's not killing you. Anthony was 12 when he figured it all out. Not because anyone told him. He just put the pieces together. The whispers, the funerals, the way people treated his father with a mix of respect and fear. One night, he came into the kitchen while I was washing dishes. Mom, he said, is Dad in the Mafia? I turned off the water, dried my hands, looked at my son, who wasn't a little boy anymore. Why are you asking me that? Because I need to know. I sat down. He sat across from me. What do you think? I said. I think yes. I nodded. Then you know. Why didn't you tell me? Because you're 12. I'm not stupid. I know you're not. I reached across the table. He let me hold his hand. This life, Anthony, it's not what I wanted for you. But it's what I have. It doesn't have to be. He pulled his hand away. Dad says it's in our blood. Says it's who we are. Your father says a lot of things. Is he wrong? I didn't answer. I didn't know how to. Anthony started spending more time with Vincent after that. Going to the restaurant, meeting the crew, learning the business. I watched my son turn into someone I didn't recognize. Harder, colder, smarter in ways I didn't want him to be smart. He stopped asking me questions. He stopped telling me where he was going. By the time he was 16, he was more like Vincent than like me. And Vincent was proud. So proud. He's a natural, Vincent told me. Smart, loyal, he's gonna be better than me. I don't want him to be like you. Vincent looked hurt. Actually hurt. What's that supposed to mean? I want him to have a normal life. This is normal for us. No, it's not. It's hell. It's waiting and worrying and lying and pretending. It's losing people we love and acting like it's fine. It's turning our son into someone who thinks violence is just part of business. This isn't normal, Vincent. This is a nightmare we can't wake up from. He stared at me. I'd never said it out loud before. Never said what I really thought. Then leave, he said. Quiet, serious. What? If it's that bad, leave. Take Anthony and go. You know I can't do that. Why not? Because he won't come. And because you won't let him. Vincent didn't deny it. He just walked out of the room. The American Mafia, the real crime families, they have rules. Unwritten rules. Don't talk to outsiders. Don't cooperate with police. Don't disrespect the family. Don't put your wife in danger. Vincent followed all of those rules except the last one. Because by keeping me in this life, by raising our son in this life, he put us in danger every single day. He just didn't see it that way. To him, this was protection. This was providing. This was love. I stopped fighting it. What was the point? Anthony was already in. Vincent was never getting out. And me, I was just the woman in the kitchen, cooking meals and keeping secrets and waiting for the phone call that would change everything. It came on a Tuesday. 3 in the morning. I answered on the second ring. Mrs. Castellano? A man's voice. Unfamiliar. Yes, this is Detective Morris with the NYPD. There's been an incident involving your husband. My heart stopped. Is he alive? Yes, ma'am. He's at Kings County Hospital. You should come now. I woke up Anthony. We drove in silence. The hospital was bright and cold. Vincent was in surgery. Gunshot wounds. 2 in the chest, 1 in the shoulder. The detective told me it happened outside a social club in Bensonhurst. Vincent was meeting with some associates. Someone opened fire from a passing car. 2 other men were killed. We waited. Anthony sat next to me, silent, his jaw clenched the same way Vincent's did. He was 17, almost a man, but right then, he looked like a scared kid. I wanted to hold him. I didn't. Vincent survived. 3 weeks in the hospital, 2 months of recovery at home. He didn't talk about what happened. Didn't talk about who did it or why. He just healed and went back to work. But something changed. He was different, paranoid, angry. He started keeping a gun in every room. Started making Anthony carry one too. Just in case, he said. I asked him once, while he was sitting in the living room, staring at nothing, was it worth it? Was what worth it? All of this. Everything you've done. Everything you've lost. Was it worth it? He thought about it. Really thought about it. I don't know, he said. And that was the most honest thing he'd ever told me. Anthony graduated high school. Didn't go to college. Went straight into the family business, officially. Vincent threw him a party. The whole crew came. They toasted my son like he'd accomplished something great. I stood in the corner and watched and felt nothing. Just emptiness. Just the weight of knowing this was it. This was his life now. And there was nothing I could do to save him. You okay, Ma? Anthony asked me, later, after everyone had gone. I'm fine. You don't look fine. I'm tired. He hugged me. He was taller than me now, stronger. He smelled like his father's cologne. I know this isn't what you wanted, he said. But it's what I want. I'm good at it, and I'm gonna take care of you. I promise. I held him tight. I know you will, baby. Then why are you crying? Because I love you. He pulled back and looked at me. I love you too, Ma. But love doesn't change anything. Love doesn't stop the violence or the fear or the inevitable ending. Love just makes it harder to let go. Vincent got indicted 2 years later. Federal racketeering charges. The FBI had been building a case for years. Wiretaps, informants, surveillance. They had everything. Vincent's lawyer said he'd be lucky to get 20 years. More likely life. Anthony wanted to fight, wanted to intimidate witnesses, pay off jurors. Vincent told him no. You do that, and you'll end up in the cell next to me. The trial lasted 6 months. I went every day, sat behind Vincent and listened to prosecutors describe my husband as a monster. Listened to witnesses testify about murders, extortion, money laundering. Some of it I knew. Most of it I didn't. Or maybe I did, and I just never let myself think about it. Either way, hearing it out loud, in a courtroom, in front of strangers, it made it real in a way it had never been before. Vincent was convicted on 18 counts. Sentenced to life without parole. The day they took him away, he looked back at me and Anthony one last time. He didn't say anything. He didn't have to. I knew what he was thinking. Take care of each other. Don't let this destroy you. Keep going. We tried. Anthony took over. He was 22, young for that kind of responsibility, but he was ready. He was everything Vincent had trained him to be. Smart, ruthless, loyal, and I watched him become exactly what I'd spent his whole life trying to prevent. But I didn't say anything. What was there to say? This was the true Mafia story. This was the real crime. Not the violence or the drugs or the money. The real crime was what it did to families. What it did to sons and mothers and wives. The way it consumed everything and everyone and left nothing but wreckage behind. I visit Vincent once a month. We sit across from each other in a gray room with fluorescent lights and armed guards and talk about nothing. How's Anthony? How's the weather? How's your health? We don't talk about the past. We don't talk about regrets. We just exist in that room for an hour, and then I go home to an empty house and wait for the next visit. Anthony got arrested 3 years after Vincent. Same charges, same outcome, life without parole. He was 25. I sat through another trial. Heard another prosecutor describe my family as a criminal enterprise. Watched another jury convict. Watched another judge sentence my son to die in prison. And now I'm alone, 61 years old, living in the same apartment I moved into when I married Vincent 42 years ago. The kitchen window still faces the alley. The walls still hold the same pictures. My wedding day, Anthony's first communion, Vincent and Anthony at the restaurant, smiling like they'd built something worth being proud of. I visit them both now. Vincent on the first Saturday of the month. Anthony on the third. I bring them pictures of family, news from the neighborhood, money for commissary. I smile and tell them I'm fine and listen to them tell me they're fine. And then I come home and sit in the kitchen and think about all the moments I could have changed things. All the times I could have left. All the times I could have said no. But I didn't, because I loved them, because this was my family. Because in the Mafia family life, you don't get to choose between love and survival. You just hold on and hope you make it through. People ask me sometimes, the few people who still talk to me, if I regret marrying Vincent. If I wish I'd done things differently. And the truth is, I don't know. I loved him. I still love him. I loved the life we built, even as it destroyed us. I loved my son from the moment he was born, and I love him now, even though he's locked away forever. Love doesn't make sense in this world. It just exists, stubborn and painful and impossible to kill. This is what really happened behind closed doors. This is the Mafia family life nobody talks about. No glory, no power, just waiting and losing and learning to live with the weight of choices that were never really yours to make. Vincent's in prison, Anthony's in prison, and I'm here, in this kitchen, cooking dinner for nobody, because that's what I do. That's what we do. We wait, we survive, we carry the secrets until we can't anymore. And the thing is, nobody wins, not the families. Not the victims, not the prosecutors or the police or anyone trying to stop it. The organized crime machine just keeps running, generation after generation, eating up sons and fathers and brothers, and leaving behind women like me. Women who know too much and can't say anything. Women who loved the wrong men and paid for it with their whole lives. I don't know how this story is supposed to end. I don't know if there's a lesson or a moral or something redemptive hiding in all this pain. I just know that every night, I lock the door and turn off the lights and go to bed in an empty apartment, and I wonder if this is what my mother meant when she said Vincent would take care of me. Because he did take care of me. He gave me a home and a son and 42 years of memories that hurt to think about. He gave me a life inside the Mafia, and now that life is all I have. So no. There's no happy ending. There's no justice. There's just me, Angela Castellano, sitting at a kitchen table. Telling you what nobody else will. That behind every Mafia family, behind every real crime story you read about, there's a woman who knows the truth. Who's lived the truth, and who will take that truth to her grave, because that's the only choice she ever really had. This is the Mafia family life. This is what really happened behind closed doors. And God help me, this is still the only life I know.